वासुदेवाय नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं च नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 3, Text 42 onwards. So Maharaj Nimi is asking this question. Evam Prishnam Rishin Purvam Aprich Piturantike Nabrvan Brahmana Putras Tatra Karyam Karanam Uchatam. So previously he asked for the question on Karma Yoga. So continuation with that, he says, once in the past, in the presence of my father Maharaj Ikshvaku, I placed a similar question before 4 great sages who were sons of Lord Brahma, but they did not answer my question. Please explain the reason for this. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, the words Brahmana Putra, the sons of Brahma, refers to the 4 Kumaras headed by Shanak Rishi. Srila Madhvacharya has quoted a verse from Tantra Bhagavat stating that the reason the 4 sons of Lord Brahma, all the Mahajans and experts in the science of devotional service, declined to answer King Nimi was that they wanted to demonstrate clearly that even those who are expert in the cultivation of speculative knowledge cannot understand the actual science of pure devotional service. Srila Jiva Goswami has further commented that the sages avoided answering the question from the king because at that time, King Nimi was a young boy and therefore not mature enough to understand the answer fully. So many times, if a sage doesn't answer our question, we should not get mad at him. Oh, he must not be knowing, or he's a show off. There could be other reasons. Like once one couple in Hyderabad, they came to see Prabhupada. And they said, Prabhupada, Swamiji, please tell us about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada just avoided that question and he kept on preaching his usual way. And they again asked. Prabhupada again just avoided the question. He just went around. They again asked. Prabhupada said, well, I don't think you're qualified to understand Radha Krishna pastimes. But they insisted. They said, no, Swamiji, we are very much qualified. You please tell. Now, how to sort out that situation? Prabhupada said very humbly, he said, you might be qualified. I'm not qualified to speak on Radha Krishna pastimes. And he left it there on. So we have to be qualified. And once we are qualified, even if a particular person doesn't answer the question, we'll get the answer somewhere, somehow. We don't have to lose heart or lose patience. We just have to rely completely on Krishna. But he will provide the answer whenever we are ready. That's all. And carry on with our devotional service. Text 43. Shri Avirhotra Uvacha Karma Karma Vikarmeti Veda Vado Nalokika Vedasya Cheshwaratma Atmavat Tatra Muyanti Sureha. Shri Avirhotra replied. Now this is 6th Navyogendra. 6th of the Navyogendra. Prescribed duties, karma, non-performance of such duties, akarma, and forbidden activities, vikarma. Okay, non-performance is actually akarma can also mean bhakti because there is no reaction. But here he's talking about karma and means performance of prescribed duties and non-performance. So he used the word akarma. And forbidden activities are topics one can properly understand through authorized study of the Vedic literature. This difficult subject matter can never be understood by mundane speculation. The authorized Vedic literature is a sound incarnation of the personality of Godhead himself. And thus Vedic knowledge is perfect. Even the greatest learned scholars are bewildered in their attempts to understand the science of action if they neglect the authority of Vedic knowledge. So ultimately, it's a Vedic knowledge or Vedas that holds everything. We just have to learn it from a bona fide spiritual master. That's all. Prescribed duties authorized or revealed scriptures are called karma, whereas a failure to execute one's highest duty is called akarma. Performance of forbidden activities is called vikarma. Thus, karma, and vikarma established by the authorized explanations of Vedic literature. They cannot be asserted merely through mundane exercises in logic. So Vedas are directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, and are self-born. This even Yamaraj said in 6 or other places. From him, Yajna came all sacrificial offerings, hymns of invocation, songs of praise. All the mantras of the Vedas come from the Lord. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has pointed out that in the material world, which is controlled by the illusory energy of the Lord, a particular sound vibration is discarded after describing its object. But on the spiritual platform called Vaikuntha, nothing is ever lost. And the Shabda Brahma, the personality of Godhead, in his form as transcendental sound, is eternal. So Vedas are eternal. They just manifest and unmanifest. In ordinary human discourse, one can ascertain the meaning of human words by understanding the intention of the speaker. But since Vedic knowledge is aparashaya, or transcendental, one can appreciate its purport only by hearing from the standard authorities in the chain of disciplic succession. This is the Guru Parampara. That is why it's very, very important. We cannot just make out our own meaning of what does this Veda say, what does it say here, what does it say there. That's why even if Bhagavad Gita is right in front of us, we cannot understand the meaning unless until we approach a bona fide Guru, serve him, and humbly ask him questions. The 4 sons of Lord Brahma declined to answer the question of King Nimi, since at that time the king was a mere child and therefore not capable of seriously surrendering to the process of hearing through disciplic succession. Srila Madhvacharya has pointed out in this regard, because the Vedas describe the unlimited personality of God, and Vedic knowledge cannot be approached by mundane methods of comprehension. And that is why Vedas are not just the books. So sometimes the books can manifest or unmanifest, but Vedic knowledge will remain. And depending upon the eligibility of people who want to understand, Vedas can manifest themselves. It's not a big deal. Vedas are words of Krishna. And like Krishna manifests, Vedas can also manifest. Parokshvado vedo ayam balana manushas karma mokshaya karmanam vidhatte hiri yagadam yatha. Childish and foolish people are attached to materialistic, fruitive activities, although the actual goal of life is to become free from such activities. Therefore, the Vedic injunctions indirectly lead one to the path of ultimate liberation by first prescribing fruitive religious activities. Just as father promises his child candy so that the child will take his medicine. No. So the first thing that the Vedas talk about is fruitive religious activities, karma kanda. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjava. The Vedas apparently offer fruitive results within the 3 modes of material nature. Those who perform ritualistic ceremonies or austerities in the mode of goodness are offered the chance of promotion to the higher planetary systems called Swargaloka. Similarly, those who perform karma kanda, fruitive religious activities in the mode of passion, are allowed to become great rulers or wealthy men on earth and enjoy great prestige and earthly power. So we can just imagine all those super rich people in the world today, or the kings in the past, or the leaders of today, political leaders. They must have done plenty and plenty and plenty of either pious activities or fruitive religious activities in the mode of passion. But then again, what's the use? We enjoy for one lifetime or few lifetimes, depending upon how we use up the bank balance of pious activities, and then start all over again. Although fruitive religious activities are very much popular among the conditioned souls, the actual perfection of life is achieved when one gives up all fruitive endeavor. So I don't want anything. That should be the case. If a father tells his child, you must take this medicine by my order, the child may become fearful and rebellious and reject the medicine. Therefore, the father entices his child by saying, I'm going to give you a delicious piece of candy. But if you want this candy, first just take this little bit of medicine, and then you can have the candy. Such indirect persuasion is called parokshavad, or an indirect description that conceals the actual purpose. Parokshvad means hidden. There's a hidden purpose. The father presents his proposal to the child as if the ultimate goal were to receive the candy, and only a minor condition must be fulfilled to receive it. Actually, however, the father's goal is to administer the medicine to the child and cure him of his disease, thus describing the primary purpose indirectly and concealing it with secondary purpose is called parokshavada, or indirect persuasion. So karma kanda is like parokshavada, because to achieve higher position, whether in this world or heavenly planets, some bitter pill has to be taken of bitter pill of performing all the religious sacrifices or whatever japa and austerities and dhan and tapa, whatever we have to do. But ultimately, one comes to understanding this is not the goal. Since the great majority of conditioned souls are addicted to sense gratification, the Vedic karma kanda rituals offer them a chance to become free from temporary materialistic sense gratification by making them greedy for fruitive Vedic results, such as promotion to heaven or a powerful ruling position on earth. In all the Vedic rituals, Vishnu is worshipped, and thus one is gradually promoted to the understanding that one's actual self-interest is to surrender to Vishnu. This is what Prahlad Maharaj said. Nate vidu swartha gatam hi Vishnu. The real swartha. Swartha means goal, my goal, or my best thing that I can do is gatam hi Vishnu. Take shelter of Lord Vishnu. Such an indirect method is prescribed as balana, those who are childish or foolish. An intelligent person can immediately understand by direct analysis the actual purpose of Vedic literature, as described by the Lord himself. Vedasya sarvaraha me vedya. All Vedic knowledge ultimately aims at achieving shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without such shelter, one must rotate within the 8.4 million species offered by the illusory energy of the Lord. So ordinary material vision, either through gross sense perception or the subtle perception of rational induction, always yields imperfect knowledge distorted by the desire for illusory material enjoyment. Sorry. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he has given, in Lord Chaitanya's movement, there is no need to childishly pursue fruitive material results and gradually be dragged to actual knowledge. According to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Hare Ranam, Hare Ranam, Hare Ranam. In Kali Yuga, life is very short, And people are generally undisciplined, misguided, and overwhelmed by the unfavorable results of their previous activities. Thus, their minds are never peaceful, and their very brief lifespan vitiates the possibility of the gradually progressing through the path of Vedic ritualistic activities. Actually, in Kali Yuga, we are very fortunate. Why? We have only at the most 100 years to live in one lifetime. Of course, we can keep on coming back. So, in this 100 years, first 13, 14, 15, or 20 years are gone in the studies, school time. So basically, we don't understand or we don't go through. Of course, not everybody, but majority, we don't go through the same problems as adults do. And then last 20 years also, Krishna has made the arrangement that we'll be so sick and invalid. And if we are taken care of properly, we can do anything. Basically, hardly we can do anything. So middle only, 40, 50 years. We go through all these problems. This is Krishna's arrangement. That you suffer, but you suffer for a very short time. And in this very short time, if we take up the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, the result is tremendous. Amazing result one can get. One can get Krishna Prem. Kalera doshanite rajan yastiye kuman. Kirtana dev Krishna se mukta sangha param vrajit. Param vrajit. So one can achieve the highest perfection, highest goal. Goes back to Godhead. Achieves Krishna Prema. Golokera Premadan Hari Nama Sankirtan. One can achieve that just by chanting for a few years. This is mercy. Mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, mercy of all the Acharya Parampara, mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Because he's the one who came out of India and preached, and he gave it all over the world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is Kevala Ananda, simply blissful. But by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even one who is indirectly attracted to Krishna consciousness movement achieves very quickly the perfection of life and goes back to Godhead. Nacharet yastu veduktam swayam agyo jitendriya vikarmana hiya dharmena mrityur mrityumupati saha. If an ignorant person who has not conquered the material senses does not adhere to the Vedic injunction, certainly he will engage in sinful and irreligious activities. Thus, his reward will be repeated birth and death. Means he will be doing something. He cannot remain inactive. So if you don't work according to scriptures, you work against the scriptures. In the previous verse, it was stated that all the fruitive activities are prescribed in the Vedas. The actual goal of human life is to free oneself from all materialistic activities. Therefore, one may conclude that there is no need to perform the Vedic rituals, which offer regulated sense gratification. But an ignorant person, or in other words, one who has not understood that he is not the material body, but an eternal spiritual soul, part and parcel of Krishna, will invariably be unable to control the urges of the material senses. Therefore, if such a materially inclined person neglects the Vedic injunctions that administer regulated sense gratification, he will surely fall down into unregulated sense gratification in path or sinful life. So that's what it is. If we don't live a life even according to Vedic karma kandi activities, we are living against the Vedic activities. For example, those who are affected by sexual desire are ordered to accept the Vivaha Yajna, religious marriage ceremony. We often see that because of false pride, a so-called brahmachari or celibate student of Vedic knowledge rejects the marriage ceremony as maya or material illusion. But if such a celibate student is unable to control his senses, he will undoubtedly degrade himself by eventually engaging in illicit sex, which has no connection to the Vedic literature, Vedic culture, because the senses are so strong. That's why all these ashrams are created by Krishna himself. Varna ashram system created by Krishna himself. So if from Brahmacharya ashram, if we want to go through Grahastha ashram, there is a process. If directly from Brahmacharya we want to go to Vanprastha and Sannyas, that's also true. That's also okay. But we cannot say that the system doesn't work. System works. Similarly, a neophyte in Krishna consciousness is encouraged to eat Krishna prasadam to his full satisfaction. Sometimes an immature practitioner of Bhakti Yoga tries to make a show of severe eating habits and eventually fall down into eating unregulated and abominable foodstuffs. So that is why it is recommended to let the bhakti grow organically. Let's not jump into it. I'll just go to the last paragraph. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the Vedas prescribe that one rise early in the morning, bathe and chant the Gayatri mantra. If one artificially gives up such disciplined, regulated life, one will gradually become a victim of activities for gross sense gratification, such as eating in restaurants and indulging in illicit connections with women. Thus, losing control of his senses, he becomes just like an animal, engaging from the early morning until the night is in dangerous activities, and that we see all over the world. Why? Because Europe or America, they are materialistically very advanced, technologically very advanced, spiritually not, but other ways they are. And we want to just imitate them. We think if we live like them, we will be happy. And this is how they show in the movies, in the ads, and here and there. People are so happy doing this, doing that nonsense. But that doesn't really give us happiness. One has to really look at the life of average American here. They don't engage themselves in all these activities that people show in movies or advertisements. And still, because of no spiritual culture, especially now, it has gone down tremendously. People are not happy. Not happy at all. But this is what they don't show it to the rest of the world. So we have to see through the eyes of scriptures what is best for me. Where is my svartha? Thus, losing control of his senses, he becomes just like an animal engaging engaging in the dangerous activity. Srila Madhvacharya has recommended in this regard. Although in ignorance one continues to act, not considering the future result of one's activities, such indifference to the future result of one's activities is described in Bhagavad Gita to be a symptom of the mode of ignorance. Just as an intelligent man will not drive his car on a highway if he knows the highway will lead him to danger. An intelligent man will not perform non-Vedic activities if he knows that the ultimate result will be the disaster described here by the words Mrityur Mrityum Vaiti. So Vedas, especially Bhagavatam, if we read that 5th canto, last chapter, describing the hellish planets and what kind of punishment is awaiting us. But because we don't have faith, we say, this is just mythology. Who has seen what is going to happen after death? But those who have faith, they can see it, and they can they tend to abide by the Vedas, and they can make further progress. So I guess I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Jai
Thank
Shri
you.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.